Anchors up, sails at full. Welcome to the SloopCast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Hey, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
You know, I am not going to complain. I don't have my noise gate on yet. Hold on. The people are asking for it. The people want it. There it is. There we go. Austin, that's what I wanted it to be. That's what I wanted it to be.
Hey, Jared. Spring camp has started. We are that much closer to football again, right?
Football-ish. I mean, we're always getting closer, right? We're not Tom Moore. I don't know the exact number of days, but you know, a day closer is better than a day further away. I don't know if that was supposed to sound deep. And I'm pretty sure it didn't. There is actual football happening technically. We just aren't privy to it. You know, we're at least kind of privy to it. We have some spies. We got some spies and we got some notes and we have some press conferences, which is what we'll be going over today. And Tom getting
when this is being released.
Tom got 2 call-outs in 2 minutes.
When this is released on Monday, we are 173 days until Ohio State takes on Akron.
There you go. You see? You see? That much closer. Ugh, that's a lot. 173
yes, exactly.
is less than half a year, not
year.
bad. And Kyle, we're actually recording this the day before it comes out. So is it actually 172 or did you already do that math?
No, I did the math already, Jared.
He's a professional, guys. He's a professional. I'm just going to ignore all of that. Thank you, Austin. Let's see. Quick news up front. We'll be talking a lot about the players who are in spring camp right now. That's a thing we'll be talking about. But some players not participating in spring camp at this time. Malik Hartford, Miles Walker, Bryce West, Court Williams, and Peyton Pierce. Miles Walker, Bryce West, Peyton Pierce are all freshmen. So, you know, they're not behind. They're just not ahead, if that makes sense. So that's fine. Court Williams, you know, we hope to see Court Williams on the field. We just hope to see him on the field. He's been dealing with injuries all his career. And I'm not sure what's up with Malik Hartford, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Kyle, let's go over some, we got some press conferences. We got to hear from Ryan Day for the first time in a long time. We get to hear about,
is the beard still there?
I believe the beard is still there. Yes. It's not like full. It's not like mid-season form, but it's there. First time since the Cotton Bowl. No, he did I think there's been one in between. Maybe for National Signing Day. Maybe not. We'll get to hear from Jim Knowles and our first opportunity to hear from Chip Kelly. And of course, Ryan Day is going to talk a lot about Chip Kelly too. So he's the new guy in town. He's a new guy in town. They're going to be talking to and about Chip Kelly a lot, which is also what we're going to be doing. All right, Kyle. Ryan Day. We'll start with Ryan Day. He's the head man. Almost forgot. Ohio State has a new punter.
And another Aussie, right? It's got to be
another Aussie. He's 6'7", Kyle.
6'7". Does he also play tight end?
In a pinch, he's going to long snap the ball to himself, allowing Ohio State to have, one extra guy on coverage. Can he play offensive tackle? I don't think he has the weight for offensive tackle. I think tight end's probably more in his skill level.
Yeah.
Yet. Fair point. Yeah. We'll work on tight end. We'll see if punter comes later, or if tackle comes later. Right now he's the punter, and he's not even necessarily the punter. Joe McGuire is still on squad. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. 6'7", Kyle. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a mechanical engineer. Spikes says he is. What do we call that, Spikes? Is it arc force or arc ratio? Oh, not mechanical. Yeah, the same. Moment arm. Basically, all I'm trying to say is that if he's 6'7", he's got really long legs. The further you get away from the anchor point, the faster the pendulum, in this case the foot, on the other end is going to be going. I think that's math. I think that's good math. And I have to stop and ask myself, why don't we have more 6'7" punters? Because I feel like there's a very distinct bodily advantage for having insanely long legs in punting. I also don't know what I'm talking about because people aren't machines. Jim Tressel right now. They usually play basketball or volleyball. I'm sorry, but basketball and football don't take place at the same time. There's lots of kids who are place kickers and soccer players, and those do happen at the same time. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Aussie punter, 6'7". Kyle, he is 6'7". But Ryan Day. Let's talk about Ryan Day.
Not just a skinny 6'7" either.
No, he is not. How big? What's the weight on him again, Kyle? I forget. I don't have that in the notes.
255.
255. 255. That's a tight end right there. That is a tight end.
Let's get some fake punts going here. Who's going to tackle him for a loss?
Let's not assume he's fast. Although he might be. I have no idea. Let's not assume he's fast, though. Okay, go.
All right.
Ryan Day. We're talking.
Yes,
we are actually going to talk about Ryan Day now. He was asked about and when I say he and his, I mean his team. Their first day back. Ryan Day straight to the point. No pads, so there's not much to report. He's saying it was a continuation of a good offseason. And hey, if they're practicing as good as the offseason has been, that means they're practicing pretty damn good. Maybe. Ohio State, current champion of the offseason. By the way, all of these quotes are not direct quotes. They're just summaries from Tony Girdman, which I then turned around and summarized. So it's like a summary of a summary. So some of these aren't direct quotes is my point. Just tossing that out there. And also shout out to Tony Girdman for doing the hard work. Talking about Chip Kelly. He says we'll have a huge part in the running game and quote, he and I will see things the same way. Shocking turn of event.
Complete
Ryan
shock.
Day from the Chip Kelly coaching tree. They see things a lot of the same ways. And also like good friends off the field. Shocking. They see eye to eye on a lot. He also says he has a great background running the football. He's excited about the guys that we have. No kidding. And all of our quarterbacks are mobile. Ooh, see, now hold on. Pause. I will make fun of Ryan Day for being very coach speaky as he, the longer he's a head coach, the more coach speaky he gets.
Rule number 1.
I mean, he's not lying though. He's just saying that they are mobile. it's just interesting considering Ryan Day has been very anti running the quarterback for a long time. He didn't say they would run. Exactly, Austin.
There you go. Yes.
Read Chip Kelly. When it comes to Chip Kelly, I feel like a lot of people see him as like an innovator of the spread, which he is, and an innovator of up-tempo offenses, which he is. But a lot of times people associate the spread falsely, sort of cross-contaminate that with like air raid offenses, because that's also a spread. But Chip Kelly, going all the way back to Oregon and also at UCLA, those were very run-focused spreads. It was very spread them out, then run it. Just saying, spread doesn't mean pass. And Chip Kelly is a bit of a running game guru, especially for a guy who, you know, is a quarterback coach.
It still hasn't hit me still, Jared. That Chip Kelly's wearing scarlet and gray gear.
It's weird. He left the UCLA head coaching. And by the way, Chip Kelly, we'll talk about that later. I think I have some of those quotes in here about, you know, why go from the UCLA head coaching job to the Ohio State offensive coordinator job? It's a step backwards for sure. It's an absolute step backwards, but he'll talk about that later. So we'll talk about that later. Ryan Day says that Chip Kelly has already made a few tweaks. To the running game, Kyle. They're not even wearing pads yet. He's already making tweaks to the running game.
What does that say to what Ryan Day has implemented? If he's already come in week one and said, no, we're making some tweaks right away. What does that say?
If you're looking for some sort of negative for me, I'm not going to give it to you. I mean, this
is a podcast, Jared. Come on.
Ryan Day's a passing guy. Chip Kelly's a running guy. I don't think either of these statements are controversial.
No. I think the tweak that I saw, Jared, and I think there's a lot of people that got a kick out of it, was that Chip Kelly has implemented the tush push.
That is a thing we're seeing.
Yes.
And we'll talk about the quarterbacks in a little bit. But Ohio State's in a unique position compared to where they've been in years under Ryan Day, in that their two primary quarterbacks appear to be runners, which Fields could run and Stroud could run, but they didn't really want them to. And then McCord couldn't run. And now you have two quarterbacks. You have two quarterbacks who are both very proficient runners. And, you know, we don't necessarily know if both of them will still be on the team come fall, but if they are, it's a little bit easier to run the ball with your quarterback if you have two running quarterbacks, because it gives you a little bit of if someone gets dinged up a little bit, you got the other one. Just saying, might help push Ohio State towards a little bit more quarterback run. All I'm saying. Ryan Day says about Chip Kelly, we've been friends and we continue to be friends. We're very, very competitive. I could tell you stories, but not right now. See, this is what I'm saying. Day's getting, I love Ryan Day. I love Ryan Day. He's getting very coach speaky. I think the whole Lou Holtz situation has taught him that, you know, like there's no winning when it comes to press conferences.
Nope.
There's just no winning. You can only lose in a press conference. All right. What else did Ryan Day say about Chip Kelly, Kyle?
Let's see here. I mean, yeah, it's still weird. Like, we're talking about Chip Kelly, and we're going to continue talking about Chip Kelly. I'll get used to it eventually here. So Ryan Day on Chip Kelly here says that never been a works for relationship. It was more of a work with relationship, and I think that was one of the things too that a lot of the media started talking to Chip Kelly about. It's like, well, you were the guy when Ryan Day was on, and now Ryan Day's the guy,
Sure.
and you're not. And he pretty much, I don't know if you have it in the quote here, Jared, but Chip Kelly's like, I'm happy. Like,
Yeah.
I need to be happy, and running the offense makes me happy.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do have that quote, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. All right. Ryan Day also says that he owes a lot to Chip Kelly. Now they're just two guys who are part of something bigger, chasing the same goal.
There you go.
Also says there's no question that he's more comfortable leaving the offense in Chip Kelly's hands.
Which brings me to something I've mentioned maybe once or twice this offseason.
Is that kind of was that sort of a little stab at Hartline, or?
It's not. Hartline is a first-year offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He was never going to totally take charge of that room. That was, and what I was saying before, a thing that we all, you, me, the fans, I never really saw anyone in among the beat reporters ever. We all drastically underestimated the loss of Kevin Wilson.
Yeah.
Because even if it was, hey, it's just Ryan Day's offense anyway. Well, Kevin Wilson's just running Ryan Day's Well, Ryan Day's still there. Ryan Day had to become like the full-time offensive coordinator without Kevin Wilson. And that wore on him, and it was too much of a time suck and all of those things. Right. So, he's talking about here, Ryan Day's just like, yeah, I can just hand things off to Chip Kelly and feel fine about that. That's huge. It allows Ryan Day to focus on the team as a whole. And that's enormous. Absolutely enormous.
Yep. Anything else on Chip Kelly here?
We do have a quote from Ryan Day in regards to the defense, talking about Sonny Styles.
Never get enough of Sonny Styles.
Never get enough Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles, Kyle, has moved to linebacker.
He has, hasn't he?
He has moved to linebacker, and thank God. He should be further up, closer to that line of scrimmage. And we'll talk about this when we get to the defensive side of the ball. But we're talking about maybe some odd fronts, some 3-4s, or some 5-2s, depending upon how you choose to characterize a 5-man front.
Or as I'm going to show some more love to Tony here, but or as some Buckeye fans know more about the double eagle,
the bear front, the double eagle,
or the bear front. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sonny Styles playing not just linebacker, which he's now playing linebacker, but potentially maybe playing some outside linebacker, which is kind of a rush end, pass rushing Sonny Styles. I'm holding out hopes.
Well, I feel Sonny Styles is a perfect counter to a very good tight end, like going up against if Ohio State's going up against
I agree.
team with a really good tight end, I can see Sonny Styles kind of be that lockdown
Loveland.
tight end. player. Yep.
He's your Loveland beater.
Yes.
But anyway, Ryan Day says Sonny Styles wants to do whatever he can to help the team. Versatile skill set. You'll see him at linebacker. You'll see him do some other things as time goes on.
It's just all over the field.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I see Ohio State's defense as like a base 10 guys. And I kind of don't care what position those base 10 guys are playing at. And the 11th person, you have your 5 defensive backs, right? We all know who the 5 defensive backs are.
Yep.
Then you have, I would say, your solid core of 3 linemen, JTT, Sawyer, and Tyleek. Then you have Simon and Styles at linebacker. Now, most of the time, that 11th guy will probably be Hamilton. But you take Hamilton off the field, you put Hicks on the field. Now you're a little bit faster. Maybe that 11th guy is a 6th defensive back if you're playing someone who really wants to spread you out.
Yep.
But the point is that I think there's like a core 10 guys, and you have Sonny Styles who could be down. He could be anywhere from down on the line of scrimmage to all the way back and playing safety. And that sort of flexibility is insane. To be anywhere from defensive end to strong safety is psychotic.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful versatility to have as a defensive coordinator. All right, Kyle. On the quarterbacks, what does Ryan Day have to? Oh, go ahead, say it.
Yeah, before we get to the quarterbacks, we're just going to take a quick ad break here. So I'm going to plug in like what Jared typically says. If you want to skip out on all these ads, become a Patreon. Patreon.thesloopcast.com and to get skipped out on all these ads. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
And we're back. On the quarterbacks, Ryan Day asked about the quarterbacks and quarterback coaching. He says, that's Chip Kelly's job. That's Chip Kelly's job. He says, of course, they'll have a lot of back and forth, and they do have a lot of back and forth. Kelly's going to run the meetings. It's a great group of quarterbacks. Off-season workout feedback's been good.
Ryan Day's supposed to be the quarterback guru.
You know, Kyle, you were talking before about like, oh, hey, was that a slight at Brian Hartline? No, I don't think that was a slight at Brian Hartline. But saying that's Chip Kelly's job now, as if Ryan Day is saying he's now no longer the quarterback coach.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for a slight against a former coach, I'll let everyone else fill in the blanks on that one. But yeah, he's a quarterback. And like, he's still there. He's still in the room. He's still, you know what I mean? He's not going anywhere. And by the way, Chip Kelly's coached some damn good quarterbacks too. Ryan Day says that everyone gets a lot of reps and they're just getting reps right now. And he's not too worried about everyone's getting a ton of reps. So don't worry about it. I'm super summarizing that quote. He's talking about Julian Sayin and Aaron Noland. He says the first job is learning what to do, then how to do it, and then why they do it.
So getting the basics down. Nothing
the basics down. I think everyone wants to sort of fast forward to that quarterback battle, but you know, Ryan Day saying, hey, chill.
Yep.
He says, but they also have to put in the extra work because they don't know everything yet.
Yeah.
As it turns out, you can't just waltz in and become the starting quarterback at Ohio State right away. I don't know who on earth would ever think that anyone, no matter how good they are, was capable of doing that. But But even, I guess, if you come in before spring camp as opposed to after fall camp, I suppose even in that situation, it'd be really hard as a freshman quarterback to become a starter at Ohio State. Unless you're Terrell Pryor. That was a very different offense. A very different offense.
All right, O-line, Jared.
Yeah.
Moving on to your favorite position, the O-line.
Yes.
No pads yet. To no one's surprise here. Ryan Day says he's fired up to see what he looks like when he's in the middle of spring. Luke Montgomery's at right guard, very athletic. He's skilled in a lot of areas. Says he thinks that he's got a very, very high ceiling. Likes his quickness and his ability to bend. Thinks he can still play tackle, but still want him at guard because it's an open job. Also mentioned about Kason Hinsman, had a really good last 2 months with Mariotti. So nothing too major so far from Ryan Day on the O-line.
He also said that Carson Hinsman has a great opportunity to compete this spring, confirming what we already know, that the McLaughlin Hinsman job is in fact, or, battle is on. There's not going to be any sort of returning starter bonus there. That is an open battle. Do you think Hinsman can play guard? I think Ohio State has a lot of guys who can play guard. I think they have really good depth at guard, which is why I'm concerned. I'm about Luke Montgomery playing guard right now. And just because he's playing guard on the first day of spring practice doesn't mean he won't eventually play tackle. And I don't mean eventually as in next year, because I kind of want him to play tackle this year. But yeah, I'm not too keen. I'm not too happy if we go into week one with the same two tackles we had last year. Hell, I wanted him to play tackle last year. He wasn't ready last year. Given the offseason, I think he is much closer to ready, if nothing else. And neither were our tackles. Well, that's a sliding scale, Austin. That is a sliding scale. On his veteran-rich team, Ryan Day says there are so many veterans on the roster right now who won't need many reps this spring. Veteran, he said the players are as close to pro players as he has ever been around. I mean, no kidding. He had a whole handful of NFL ready players come back. Yes. Nothing like Ohio State's ever seen before. You have a veteran team like this, you better be prepared as a coach. He also said that transfers don't just win jobs.
Got coaches like Chip Kelly.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Jim Knowles. Again, summaries and quotes from Tony Gerdeman. On Sonny Styles, made the change to in the box. He says, but up there, things happen a lot faster, but he's reacting superbly. He says it's going to be great for him. He's already showing knowledge of the defense, excelling at linebacker. The move is permanent, but there are things in packages to create multiplicity. What does that mean? He's a linebacker. He'll continue to be a linebacker, but that doesn't mean he's always going to be lined up 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. That's what that means. You can be a linebacker out in coverage. You can be a linebacker with your hand in the dirt, proverbial dirt, given modern football. You can be a linebacker all over the field. He says everybody said he would eventually be a linebacker, but he and Styles both wanted to see him at safety first. Okay, I don't know what that means. Like, yeah, you're going to be a linebacker, but play safety for a couple years first. Okay. I have no idea what that means. There's a comparison to Malcolm Rodriguez, who had a similar path at Oklahoma State. So maybe Knowles knows what he's doing.
Knowles we trust.
Yes. Jim Knowles talking about having potentially 3 linebackers on the field together, which is not a thing we saw a ton of last year from Ohio State. It was very 2 linebacker, but you have Simon, you have Hicks, you have Sonny Styles. He says it's, might be the best way to get his best 11 on the field.
And that's going to be the problem with this year's defense. You can only put 11 on the field.
It's a great problem. It's one of the best possible problems.
It is.
He says very confident in his linebackers, and talking about getting the best 11 on the field. He says that they're looking at 4-2-5 deployments, but they're also looking at 5-2-5 deployments and 3-4-5. A 5-2 and a 3-4 is the same thing. I don't know if I'm breaking news to anyone on that, but they're the same thing. But yeah, he's basically looking at adding a lot more variation to the defense, which, when you have this many veterans out there who already know your defense, you can start putting nice to haves. You can start sprinkling little changes on there. But he's talking about the jack position and how, instead of doing the jack, he might look at using 4 linebackers, or rather 2 wide defensive ends. Again, a 5-2, a 3-4 are the same thing. So, maybe getting JT or Jack Sawyer out there playing wide defensive end and or outside linebacker, depending upon how you choose, or maybe Jack and Jill. I don't know. Whatever you want to call them, I don't care. Point is that you have 3 interior defensive linemen out there, 2 wide players. Point is variation. That's the point. And okay, what do you think? You want to see some 3-4 Ohio State?
One of the issues last year, though, Jared, was it was really getting the pressure onto the quarterback.
Yep.
Like I feel like Ohio State did a really good job of really stopping the run overall, but a lot of times, and even on our Discord, like a lot of times, you just hear about like, we're not getting to the quarterback in time. We're always like a step late, or we need we're a half second behind, and all that. Is a 3-4 really going to fix that?
Yeah,
I really don't think so. But
I think it can.
But with Sonny Styles moving over to linebacker, you get your 3 best defensive linemen up front there, pushing up, and then you can get your linebackers to maybe really get in there and make some get some pressure in there, and heck, put Tui Malau as a linebacker as well too, to get some pressure as well. So I think there can definitely be a lot of creativity there. If you want to go I think Jared's going to like hearing this. If you go the Steelers way, where you can kind of mix match your, like, I think Tui Malau is the perfect person here. Mix him being on the line or as an outside linebacker there to really mix up and really confuse the defense there.
The whole idea of the 3-4
could work.
The whole idea of the 3-4 is that you can still bring 4 rushers every play, just like you do with a 4-3, but that the offensive line doesn't know who that 4th rusher is. That's kind of the whole deal, is, you don't know who that 4th guy is. That being said, I really see JT as I always thought that Hayward, you bring up the Steelers, I always thought Hayward was a good comp for JT. Hayward has had a very long career in Pittsburgh as a 3-4 defensive end, which, is typically a bigger, stronger defensive end, not necessarily a pass rush specialist defensive end. And I really see JT more as a 3-4 defensive end than I see him as an outside linebacker. I think Sawyer's a good outside linebacker. I think he can kind of fit into a Watt, again, like if we're comparing to Pittsburgh, into a Watt-like role. And I think your other outside linebacker, in my opinion, I think is going to be some mixture of Hicks and Styles. Yep. Maybe leaning more towards Styles, but that's just my opinion. That's just me speculating. All right, Kyle. Chip Kelly, man of the offseason. Man of the offseason. You're talking about why? Why come to Ohio State? You go from the head coach at UCLA to now you're quote unquote just an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. He talks a little bit about why. He's talking a little bit about Ohio State. He's going to talk a little bit about coming to Ohio State. He says, quote, I do a lot of things other people don't do. His quarterback coach left before the bowl game and he took over that role and he really, really enjoyed it. His wife said that was the happiest he's been in a while. Quote, I want to be happy.
There it is.
He just wants to go and be a position coach and get back to actually coaching. I don't know how much of that is coach speak. I don't know how much of that is rule 1. I don't know how much of that is the truth. I'm sure that it's a mixture of both. I'm sure there is a lot of, at the very least, a lot of truth to it.
I mean, there's a lot of coaches that like wants to be like the head coach and be the CEO and tell all the other coordinators and other coaches saying, hey, this needs to be fixed.
CEO,
you go,
manager.
Yep. You go handle it. But then there's other times like, I mean, Ryan Day, where I feel like that he couldn't let go or can't let go of the offense. Now,
right.
How is he going to do this year now that he's apparently letting go of the offense? How much of that
he's not letting go of the offense?
How much of that is he letting up or letting go? And how much is he going to trust Chip Kelly to run with it too, and that to call the plays and all that too? Because I mean, look at what Saban, like Saban trusts his coaches to do their job essentially, and if he didn't like it, yeah, he intervened and he took care of it and brought in different coach or whatever case may be there too. And that's what Saban did, made him a really great coach.
Sure.
And if Day's going to want to be that elite kind of head coach, he's going to have to follow a similar suit where he's going to have to trust who he hired to do that job then.
Yeah, absolutely. Chip Kelly says, Ryan Day makes me call him sir. I
saw that.
I'm just gonna let that one hang out there. I have no comments.
And I believe also like right after that, he still called him Day or something like that. Still, like immediately after that.
I mean, I think when addressing him directly, doesn't call him. Yeah. Okay. He says he's known Day since Little League. He's always been a great competitor. This was the best fit for him in his career at this time. He says, I never thought about quitting or not coaching. I'm going to coach and then I'm going to die. And then one of the more important things I noticed, and this isn't just coming from Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
And this isn't just coming from Ryan Day. although it's also coming from Ryan Day, and it's also coming from Knowles, but it's not just coming from Knowles, and it's coming from Jack Sawyer, but it's not just coming from Jack Sawyer. But I think Chip Kelly does it the most because I think he got asked the most, like talent. You leave one coaching job, you go to another coaching job, talent. What do you think about this talent? Talent. Every single time, and again, this is a running theme across all of the coaches, but it showed up the most with Chip Kelly. Anytime talent is brought up, it is deflected. Anytime talent is brought up, it is deflected. Ohio State does not give a damn about their own talent. At least that's what they're saying. You can rule one me if you want to rule one me. Someone asked Jack Sawyer about the talent. He goes, everyone's talented. You ask Chip Kelly about the talent. He goes, yeah, but everyone's talented. We don't have any talent issues, but we need to be the most disciplined team and have the best technique and have the most energy. It is very obvious that this is the message coming from on high. Yeah, we're talented. Fuck our talent. Fuck it. Who cares? Yeah, we're talented. So what? This is the recurring theme, and I've heard it now. I encourage everyone to listen for it moving forward as we get more press opportunities. Ohio State does not want to hear about how talented they are. They don't want to hear it. And I think that's the right attitude to have. I think it would be very easy to waltz, Ohio State, I said at the beginning of the episode, Ohio State has won so far. Offseason's not nearly over yet, but so far Ohio State has won the offseason. Adding Caleb Downs, adding several other top tier, Judkins and other top tier transfer guys. The sheer amount of talent that they brought back from their existing roster, who everyone was convinced was going to go pro. Ohio State won the offseason. They are insanely talented. One of the most talented Ohio State squads I've ever seen. But they don't hand out trophies for the offseason.
Nope.
And Ohio State appears to be
just like
hammering that
last
message
year.
home.
Just like last year, Jared, it all starts and ends on that offensive line. And how this offensive line develops and improves solely is going to depend on how well Ohio State's going to do this year.
Yep. All right. We have more Chip Kelly stuff, but I think we were wanting to run this episode a tad bit short. So I might bounce out on the rest of the Chip Kelly quotes. He says play calling will be collaborative. He says, he talks a little bit about Will Howard and how he's really impressive and he has a great sense of urgency because he only's got 1 year to do it. He likes the athleticism along the offensive line. He talks a bit about tempo and how, we'll do some tempo, but we're not going to live and die by it.
I think the big thing here that I took from Chip Kelly was that, does he want a number one quarterback by the end of spring? Buckeye fans obviously want to, but he says he's just going to let these things happen organically. They're not going to force the issue. It always plays itself out.
No, it doesn't. But
it doesn't. No, correct.
I don't agree. It does not always just play itself out. Look at last year as an example.
Yep, exactly.
But one more quick commercial break, and then we will be right back. Again, if you want to avoid these commercial breaks, go to patreon.thesloopcast.com. Okay, Kyle. I think we're at the end of the episode now. Maybe some quick additional notes here. A lot of people were wondering about numbers, about the incoming freshmen coming in and some transfers coming in. Will Howard's keeping his 18. Aaron Nolan will be wearing 12. Julian Sayin will be wearing 10. Judkins is taking over the number 1. No one wore the number 1 on the offensive side for Ohio State last year. Judkins will be taking that number. Jeremiah Smith snagging that number 4. Some interesting
Block O. The Block O, though.
Well, we don't know the Block O yet. We don't know the Block O. However, interesting to note that Caleb Downs transferring in will be wearing his number 2 that he had from Alabama last year. Um,
I'm sure when you got that talented of a incoming transfer, you're going to get the number that you want.
Jihad Carter has the number 3, and probably pretty, which we already knew. He had that last year, I believe. Maybe notably that Court Williams also still has the number 3, both on the defensive side. And I think Court Williams is a guy who I think a lot of people were maybe earmarking for that block O. So the fact that there's 2 number 3s on the defense might drive that home. That might be your indicator, and a lot of people thinking it may have been Court Williams anyway. He sort of fits that Bab role of block O guys, just constantly fighting through injuries. 2 number 3s on the defense, and the more I think about it, Jihad did not have a number 3 last year. I think that's a new number assignment. Court Williams getting that block O, Kyle? What you think? What you think? Do you have thoughts? Kyle? Are you just messing with me right now? You blinked. What are you doing? What are you doing right now?
I'm having a lot of internet issues here. Sorry.
Okay, so you weren't just messing with me. I honestly thought you were messing with me.
No.
Okay. I saw the blink too. Thank you, Spikes.
There was a lot of just static I was getting here, so apologize.
I was just talking about the block O and how I think it's going to be Court Williams because both Jihad Carter and Court Williams have the number 3. That's all I was saying.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we got there.
All right. Internet's good now. All right, now I can hear you. So
okay, cool. Time to end the episode.
Perfect.
All right, Kyle. Do you have anything, Kyle's Corner?
Jesse Mendez, Big Ten title for the 141-pound wrestling division. There,
nice.
The only Buckeye to win their weight title. So yeah, a lot of great for Mendez to win that. The Buckeye basketball team finishes the regular season with a 4-game winning streak.
Okay.
Going into the including Jared a 2-game road win streak. Going into the Big Ten
never thought I'd see it
here. Big Ten tournament here as a 9 or 10th seed. Still waiting for the final game here. I don't know what the score is here. But depending on this last game here that's actively going on, depends on where Ohio State will go in the Big Ten. And honestly, I'd rather them go. I'd rather them go to the as a 10 seed to avoid Purdue at all. So hopefully they go to a 10 seed and not 9.
There you go.
And it looks like Penn State. Yeah, Penn State's going to win this. So what was it if Penn State won? I think if Penn State won, let me see. Penn State won. Yep, if Penn State won, then Ohio State will go to the 10 seed, I believe.
Well, darn. Odin says, NIT champs calling it now. There you go.
Nope.
All right, everyone.
I don't know. The resume looks pretty good here. They're on that bubble right now.
Just don't.
I'm just saying, Jared. Like
just don't.
If they win a game or two.
Okay, Kyle. We're ending the episode now before we do this. Okay.
That's fine.
Tonight's ending music brought to you by Columbus-based group called Doc Robinson. Doc Robinson. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Doc Robinson.